2, 1.
7 things you probably didn't know you need to know. I'm Jamie East, and this is the Smart 7.
Good morning, it's Monday the 25th of July and it's World Drowning Prevention Day. And a big happy birthday to Gareth Thomas, Matt LeBlanc and Jax Jones. The UK looks set to crack down on illegal migration no matter who becomes the next Prime Minister, after both Tory candidates pledged fresh measures to tighten UK borders. Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak each promised a dramatic expansion of the Rwanda asylum scheme after it emerged that the African nation could only take 200 migrants. On top of that, the UK is set to lose the £120 million it paid to Rwanda if the plan to deport asylum seekers is ruled unlawful by the courts. But Sir Robert Buckland MP still thinks backing the plan is a valid strategy.
I think it's vitally important that we make this a success because it might well be an example of how we can work with other countries in order to share the responsibility for safe haven for people fleeing persecution.
And the Secretary of State for Work and Pensions, Theresa Coffey, agrees.
But I think it's right that we continue to try and make sure that we have a sensible handling of the migration and indeed make it as difficult as possible for people, as I say, like traffic smugglers to benefit from people coming across.
The Tories may be backing the strategy of the leadership hopefuls, but Labour thinks the whole contest is undemocratic. Wallasey MP Angela Eagle had this to say.
It just demonstrates how narrow and unrepresentative the Tory membership that will select the next Prime Minister for the third time running without a general election actually is.
Meanwhile, thousands travelling to France are set to face more delays after the weekend saw 7-hour queues at Dover, turning the Eurotunnel into a hotspot of holiday hell. The first weekend of the summer school holidays got off to a terrible start, with holidaymakers hoping to travel to France told to expect long delays. Disruption at the port of Dover seems to have been cleared, but travellers are now facing lengthy delays at Folkestone and the Eurotunnel, and everyone's pointing the finger at each other. Foreign Minister Liz Truss thinks France is to blame.
Well, the fact is that the French authorities have not put enough people on the border. And I'm in touch with the French authorities. I'm very clear that we need to see action from them.
But travel journalist Simon Calder thinks the fault lies with ourselves.
We have to be absolutely clear. This was exactly what we asked for. We said we want to leave the EU, perfectly reasonable political choice, but once the deal was negotiated, we said we want to be third country citizens, therefore we want an external EU border and we want to have all our passports stamped.
In Ukraine, there's a push to restart grain exports from Odessa after the Russian missile attack over the weekend. Friday saw a new deal brokered by Turkey, which both Russia and Ukraine agreed on, that was to see safe passage for Ukrainian grain across the Black Sea. However, Russia then struck the port of Odessa with cruise missiles on Saturday. The strike drew widespread condemnation and amplified fears that Moscow can't be trusted. Ukrainian MP Alexei Goncharenko said the grain deal is important for the sake of humanity.
At the moment of signing of agreement, I commented it and said that Putin will do everything he can to disrupt it, because he doesn't want it.
As Russia's military operations on the ground appear to remain paused, Ukraine's now predicting it can recapture the southern region of Kherson by September. And President Zelensky continued his call for support over the weekend.
This apparent Russian barbarism brings us even closer to obtaining the weapons we need for our victory.
Monkeypox has now been declared a global health emergency by the World Health Organization after a surge in cases. It's the 7th time such a declaration's been made since 2009, the most recent being given for COVID-19, which was given the same label back in 2020. The WHO's Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus spoke on Sunday addressing the new outbreak.
We have an outbreak that has spread around the world rapidly through new modes of transmission about which we understand too little. For all of these reasons, I have decided that the global monkeypox outbreak represents a public health emergency of international concern.
Still to come on the Smart 7, a surprising plea from the Octagon in the UFC, and Kate Moss spills the tea. Right after this. Welcome back.
UFC fighter Paddy Pimblett went viral this weekend for a heartfelt plea to men everywhere after he won his fight on Saturday. In the world of mixed martial arts, he's better known as Paddy the Baddie, a name he usually lives up to. For example, during Friday's weigh-in, he mooned the cameras to show off his physique. After he won his bout, though, he took a moment to speak genuinely and frankly about the death from suicide of a close friend last week.
If you're a man and you've got weight on your shoulders and you think the only way you can solve it is by killing yourself, please speak to someone. Speak to anyone. People would rather, I'd rather me mate cry on my shoulder than go to his funeral next week.
Never complain, never explain. That's usually her motto, but fans have been treated to a rare interview with supermodel royalty Kate Moss. The catwalk queen appeared on BBC's Desert Island Discs and admitted she'd swap partying hard for gardening hard nowadays. She's still pretty rock and roll though, bringing a custom remix by DJ Jazzy Jeff as one of her tracks. And she shared an experience from her early days of modelling and how that affected her.
I was only 15 probably, and he said, take your top off. And I took my top off, and I was really shy then. And he said, take your bra off. And I could feel there was something wrong, so I got my stuff and I ran away. I think it sharpened my instincts. I can kind of tell a wrong 'un a mile away.
Shazam is back. The light-hearted DC superhero adventure movie is getting a sequel, and there are some new famous faces joining the cast. A first-look trailer of Shazam Fury of the Gods was released at this year's San Diego Comic-Con and introduces a new villain played by none other than Dame Helen Mirren. Other new cast members include Rachel Ziegler and Lucy Liu. And Zachary Levi is back again as the lead hero in the action-packed blockbuster, which is set for release on December the 21st.
I don't deserve these powers, if I'm being honest. Like, what am I even contributing? Ow! There's already a superhero with a red suit with a lightning bolt on it. Aquaman is literally huge and he's so manly. And Batman is so cool. And I'm just me.
This has been The Smart 7. Wherever you're listening, do us a favour and hit the follow button. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Have a great day. Written, produced and published by Daft Doris.